Hey guys, today's activity is going to be asynchronous, and so I'm going to go over it with you, and then you will have the remaining part of the period to work and finish up any assignments that we have coming up that might be due. So first of all, I need you to look at Canvas under coursework. Remember, we have moved into Unit 2, and today is Tuesday, the 29th. So today it says, I can identify the 4 types of Spanish settlements and complete a comparison Venn diagram. So the future ready skill for today is you're going to respond, and you're going to respond not only to some questions about some settlements, but also using the Venn diagram. So you're going to be comparing 2 different pieces of the settlements in the Venn diagram. So for the warm-up today, you will need to create, first of all, this new paper. So this paper for the week, it's going to finish out our week of warm-ups. So when you open it, please make a copy, put this in Unit 2 warm-ups, and we are going to be looking at these 4 different people over the next couple of days. So as you can see, you will be filling in your warm-up for one of these people today. So if you go back and you actually look at the warm-up slide for their Tuesday, we're going to be looking at Fray Damien Massanet, okay? So the information here will need to go on that page that you just pulled up. So Fray Damien Massanet, his actions, he was a priest, and he was sent to East Texas to destroy the French settlement of Fort St. Louis. Remember, we talked about Fort St. Louis when La Salle actually came into the picture. And so Fray Damien Massanet was sent from Spain to destroy it. He was in search for sites for Spanish settlements, and particularly Spanish missions in East Texas. The missions that he was involved in was he helped establish San Francisco de las Tejas, which is the first mission in East Texas. He founded missions on the Neches River and Mission San Bernardino. So the impact on Texas that Fray Damien Massanet had is he was the first to establish missions in East Texas. This was crucial. There were no missions established in East Texas at all at this point. And so he was the priest who also wanted to convert Indians to the Catholic faith, which we know is one of the reasons for exploration, but also for settlement for the Spanish. Okay, so you need to copy down this information onto Fray Damien Massanet right over here into this box. All right. Okay, after you have finished that, let's go ahead and look at our assignment for today. So we're going to continue with European colonization of Texas. We're going to look at the 4 types of Spanish settlements. Now, we have talked about these yesterday, but we are going to look at them a little bit more today and then also do a comparison of these 4 different types. So one reminder real quick though is your travel blog is due by midnight tonight. So make sure you get that turned in for checkpoint number 2. Look closely at that rubric. If you have any questions, look at the rubric and follow exactly what it says. So let's go to 4 types of Spanish settlements in Venn diagram. So it says here to use the slideshow in class discussion, complete the 4 types of Spanish settlement chart below. So open the slideshow and open the settlement chart. This will be in Unit 2 notes. Please move that. Unit 2 notes. Okay, so this is your chart that you have. And then this is the slideshow. So since we don't really have a class discussion, you're doing this asynchronously, I'm going to walk you through this and then you can fill out your chart. So using this slideshow, we're going to look at the 4 different types of Spanish settlements. So we had what was called the mission, the presidio, a town, and the ranchos. Okay, so the first one let's look at is the mission, and you have your notes here as well. So let's look at the purpose of a mission. So the purpose of the mission was to teach Native Texans the Spanish way of life. So the Native Americans, they wanted to teach them about the Catholic faith. So it was Catholicism, but also more than just the religion, it was also about Spanish language and Spanish culture. Keep in mind that the Spanish wanted to not only settle the missions, but also make the Native Americans loyal subjects of Spain. And so they introduced their language, their culture, their foods, their life, and things like that. So who lived in the mission? The friars and the Indians, the Native Americans. Their daily life, they were very busy. They worked. They would attend certain classes about Christianity and what that looked like, and then how they would live that out in their society. Physical description of the mission is a square compound with 4 walls. All of them had a chapel or a church. They had fields full of livestock outside the mission walls. And then there was a convent for priests and workshops. Some other information, friars either offered gifts or they tried to force Indians to live in the missions. So they tried to entice them by offering them gifts, but some were just forced. Friars wanted to make life in the mission like that of a Spanish village. A mission was a Spanish religious settlement. Okay, so using this information, you can put it over here and fill out this information. So the people in the daily life, the purpose, and then the physical description. All of that can be located here. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the next one. The next one is a presidio. So the purpose of the presidio was to protect the mission and the settlements there. So who lived at the presidio? Well, soldiers lived there because they protected the mission. They're protecting the mission from outside invaders. So other Native American attacks, possibly other countries such as the French, and things like that. Their life, they wanted to maintain control over Native Texans in their daily life. So they wanted to take care of their personal families as well. The physical description of a presidio, it's rectangular with tall walls, and it was a place where the soldiers slept at night. Other information about a presidio is a Spanish fort. Life for Spanish soldiers was difficult and dangerous. Many soldiers did not have the needed supplies in order to be very effective at the presidio. Most missions also shared one presidio. So it wasn't like there was a mission per presidio. There might have been 4 missions in one presidio. So they weren't really well equipped to protect the mission as much as they would have liked. So that would go for presidio, and you would write that information here. Okay, the next one is a town. So the purpose of the town is where was another way for Spain to occupy Texas. So they wanted to settle these communities, and they wanted society to be very orderly like it was in Spain, where there was a king and they would be loyal subjects of Spain. And so that was the whole purpose of setting up a town. So who lived in the towns? Spaniards and Native Americans. Daily life was farming and ranching, some shopkeepers, blacksmiths, tailors, and seamstresses. Physical description of a town, they had houses made of local materials and natural resources. Other info was San Antonio was the first Spanish settlement in Texas and would later become the capital of Texas. And we will get to how San Antonio became the capital a little bit later. So for town information would go here. Okay. And let's look at the last one. The last one is ranchos. So the purpose of a ranchos was a way to provide food and supplies for the colonies. So who lived there on the ranchos were the vaqueros. Vaqueros are Spanish cowboys. So daily life, vaqueros took care of the livestock. Livestock raised on the ranches provided meat for the settlers. So not only did they have livestock, they also had some farming, irrigation, and things like that. Physical description was large pieces of land with little grass and extreme weather conditions. So sometimes it would get very cool, and then sometimes it would be very hot. So one way or the other typically. Other info is the Spanish ranching methods are evident in Texas today. So we still hold true to some of those same techniques that the Spanish taught the Native Americans when they first came. Clothing and equipment such as hats, lariats, and saddles. Cattle drives, which took cattle from South Texas to markets outside of the territory. So they would drive the cattle north into Kansas City, Abilene, Kansas, Dodge City, places like that, they would drive the cattle on cattle drives up north and then sell them to the eastern markets, which we will talk about later as well this year. So this information for ranchos can be put in down here. All right, very important type of settlement. And these are the 4 types of settlements: missions, presidios, towns, and ranchos. Okay. So now that you have this information down, you're going to compare and contrast the life of a Spanish priest and a soldier. Okay, so the Spanish priest would be within the mission, and the soldier would be within the presidio. So based on these 2 columns, okay, these 2 columns, what do they have in common? It would go in the middle. And what they are different or how they contrast from each other would go in the sides. And in order to do this, you have to double click on the circles, and then you can double click here and start typing. And when you're finished, push save. And then it will save it for you in the circles. Okay, so priest, soldier, how they are different, and then the middle is how they are the same. All right, so again, you can stop this video at any point and go back. If you need to listen to something again, you're welcome to do that.